This episode of Made in America is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network, which has been bringing you the best in home-based innovation since 1998.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Made in America.
This segment is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
And thank you for being with us for this hour of Made in America, where we get to focus on the stories of people manufacturing and selling products right here in America. And it's wonderful and an honor to be able to tell these stories. And my guest for this segment is Ben Weinreich. Ben, am I saying that right?
Yes, good job.
All right. And Ben is one of those wonderful, wonderful folks that manufactures right here, made in America. He's got a variety of different products. But Ben, tell us Green Tech Tools. I love the name Green Tech Tools. Tell us about Green Tech Tools and what you do.
Okay, so that's a little bit about some of my different abilities I've got. So my background is in construction. I've been a licensed contractor in Maryland for 23 years. And about 14 years ago, I had a deck remodeling project where I had to pull the planks off and put new ones down. We checked the frame out. It was still in great shape. So I expected a several hour-long process. And I got to tell you, it was a rude awakening, and it was incredibly intensely difficult. So kind of the overall goal of Green Tech Tools is just what's the better way about doing kind of some of the demolition and other remodeling projects that lots of people are going to need to do. What's the easy, fast way to do that? Just kind of starting from scratch. So my background again is in residential building and remodeling, and kind of those things kind of help me see what others might need from a time and back saving devices. And I guess God gave me a gift in kind of visualizing geometric shapes, and I like solving problems, and I like making things that enhance people's quality of life. And the tools that we make and sell and the other devices focus on doing that for people.
Well, you've opened up several little elements there that I love to be able to ask questions about. So, you've been doing this for a while now. You said that's what your background is. So you've done it professionally, right?
Yeah. I'm still taking on some construction jobs in my free time. So,
In your free time. All right. So then is manufacturing your tools and your technology kind of taking over the actual doing of the projects?
Yeah, I've been reducing the amount of my availability to do construction projects is certainly waning, and I won't mind putting the hammers down one day, of course. And the manufacturing is certainly broadening. Some of the other interesting things that we're doing, we can talk about later, is we're actually really focusing now on what are the ways that we can improve the pricing by reducing the amount of labor and trying to figure out clever ways to just reduce what we have into it to get a better result for the customer.
So as you went through and you were, doing different projects, and there's got to be a better way to do this. Is that where that's where we see a lot of people get their inspiration, is that they're on the job. They're working with something and they realize that there is a better way. So when you are out there and you're working with a crew, do you put your heads together and collaborate on this? Or is this something that you're thinking privately and thinking, I'm going to go home in my garage and figure this out?
Um, let's see here. So, well, I mean, I can tell you about kind of just the inspiration for the tool, the Green Tech tools. My first experience removing old deck planks was in 2012, and it was brutal. It was 450 square feet. It was the old arsenic treated lumber, and the buddy that I had called up to give me a hand, because I mean I'm in charge, so it my profit depends on how good of a job I do and how well I plan everything. So I had a buddy helping me. He's 6'3", almost 250 pounds, and I had customers calling him Goliath. So I figured him and me, 2 or 3 hours, this 450 square feet would be pulled off, and 1 or 2 days we'd have it redecked. But that was not the case. This was the old arsenic treated lumber. The structure was it was totally intact. It's just the top little bit of the deck surface was dilapidated. And it took us 10 hours to take those planks off. It was 3.5-inch spiral shank nails, and it was like the wood was so strong. It was incredibly difficult. I even had him. Okay, so this just is an example. He was under the deck slamming it from below with a 16-pound sledgehammer, and he kind of got tired, but we were hitting the deck so hard that the customers who were on their way to North Carolina kept getting calls from their alarm company saying that your motion detectors are going off. Should we send the police over? And they said, no, it's just guys ripping our deck boards off. That's how hard we had to hit it. So after that miserable job, I was exhausted. And I said, there has to be a better way to do this. And with the tool that we have now, the demo deck, the whole job would have probably taken 15 minutes or so.
Wow. All right. So what's the difference between the old way and the new way?
So before we were using specifically, we would slam a digging bar down in between the planks, and we would pry down all the way to the deck surface, and it would just like kind of crunch the wood up a little bit, but nothing pried out of the way. It was incredible how strong everything was. And what we've got is I was thinking I'm kind of good with geometry, so I figured if we can get a way to hook around that board and you can pry on the next one, and you're staying on the safe side and you're pulling that way, you should be able to get a giant, not only prying up, but you should be able to twist it as well. So just kind of going from the aspect of what is the absolute best thing, the best way, most effective way to dislocate that plank, it seemed like twisting it and really being able to throw your body weight into it was the way to go.
Well, that's really interesting because my visual is, watching you twist around this tool. And so you've got did your prototypes, and now you are manufacturing. Where are you manufacturing?
So we're manufacturing outside of Baltimore in a town called Westminster. And yeah, it's pretty good. We're doing a lot of the stuff in-house, but one of the ways that we're going to actually be able to get the price down is we have some industrial manufacturers in the United States that are going to be able to help us get the end price manufacturer, the MSRP down.
All right. So where would someone go now to buy your product?
So you can go to greentechtools.com. That's GREENTEKTOOLS, greentechtools.com. We're also for sale on Amazon, Walmart.com. I think we're for sale on Menards. Very soon, we're going to be on Lowe's.com as well.
Congratulations. That's a big deal. So what has been the biggest surprise for you in this process?
So some of the big surprise. Honestly, it's how the road to success is paved with difficulties and setbacks. It's kind of just part of the broken world we live in. But I was surprised, and it's just one of those things. It's like you can't stop. And if anything, I just want to let it be an encouragement to the entrepreneurs listening to follow your dreams and prepare yourself for success, and just never give up, because you are going to have lots of setbacks and stuff where, sometimes you might not even be able to go forward. You have to pivot. So it's just don't give up.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break and go and pay some commercials, pay for, have some commercials so that we can pay for this. But we're going to get back with Ben in just a couple of minutes and have him explain a little bit more about, the challenges, some of the things that might have been easier than he expected. But right now, you know what? Just like every other show out there in America, we need to go and pay some bills. But in the meantime, if you know somebody out there that is manufacturing a product in America, have them get in touch, because Monday rolls around every week. And we need to be able to tell those stories about manufacturing in America. So stick with us, everybody. We're going to be right back with another segment. And if you've got a product, you know somebody who's got a product and they want to show off at ASD Market Week. Oh, yeah, I'm pulling back from that Invent America hour. We are going to ASD Market Week, where somebody who is manufacturing a product in America, we would love to have them there to show off. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back.
This segment is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
Thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Made in America, where we get to brag about all the products that are made right here in our own backyard. And Ben is my guest right now, and he is manufacturing in America tools for removing decks, but you'd also had one that would remove a hardwood floor, correct, Ben?
Yes.
Can you talk about that one yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's our, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so tell us, I've got hardwood floors throughout the entire house. And I've also got a wood deck. And I know that at a certain point, I am going to be replacing, fixing all of those. So what is it about that removing those hardwood floor boards that is so challenging?
Well, it's not very easy, and there's no devices that are specifically made to make hardwood floor removal as easy as possible. So kind of with the same mindset of there really wasn't anything that was really fast and really good, like exceptional for pulling off deck boards. We kind of went with the same mindset into pulling off these hardwood floor planks because the geometry of the tool, if we shrink it a little bit and of the demo deck tool, if we shrink it and modify it a little bit, it is incredibly effective at pulling up the hardwood, the interior tongue and groove nailed hardwood planks. Anything from a standard 2 1/4 up to about a 4 1/2. Anything that you don't use glue on to adhere to the floor, the hardwood floor tool we have is incredibly good at.
Well, don't you have to, someone, all right, a do-it-yourselfer, be aware of breaking the wood that's in the piece next to it? I mean, how do you take out a corner and replace part of a hardwood floor without destroying the whole thing?
So both of the tools, that the demo deck and the hardwood flooring tool, the whole purpose of them is if somebody's intention is to demolish the entire floor. Because what they do that makes it so fast is it's the mindset is you're using it in a system and you're attacking the weakest point in the system, and then you're going to repeat that motion so that you can get the whole floor up pretty fast and pretty easy doing the exact same thing. So basically, we break the removal down to the simplest process and you repeat it. So it's a lot like when I do my manufacturing, we've actually come up with a device that you can use to kind of almost, disassemble your floor in the same kind of a mindset that we use in doing manufacturing. You're kind of just almost like unmanufacturing your floor.
Good way to put it. Good way to put it. So when you're looking at going in, you came up with the idea and you said, okay, let's, get some prototypes done. And now we're going to manufacture. I've known folks that, as they start going through those early steps, they have to change the prototype model and test model for manufacturing. What were some of the challenges that you guys faced when you started manufacturing?
So, well, initially, if you want me to start with the demo deck, I didn't realize that how possible it would be for me to manufacture in the United States. I just figured it would be impossible. So we imported for a while, and that was so difficult that I was like, I really wanted. We got to the point where we had to start manufacturing in the United States. We started right during COVID, so we did have some sort of unique issues, like the price of material skyrocketed. It went up like 500% in about a month. So, I
Wow.
mean, just things were crazy. And then we actually were having a little difficulty getting wood. So I ended up importing a couple of skids of bamboo, and I would never do that again. The cost was like 5 times more to bring in the bamboo handles than it was to bring the entire tool in, an enormous amount more of it a couple years before. So it's like, man, it's so not worth it that the United States it's literally the only thing that really makes sense and the only thing we really have any control over. So I guess some of the difficulties is I didn't well, some of it is just I guess, my own ignorance. I didn't know some of the things and some of the ways that I would be able to make these devices without having a giant factory. And, lo and behold, after doing a little more research and talking to some friends in the industry, I was able to actually produce the tool itself. And it's actually a fairly unique process how we make the tool as well.
Well, that's really interesting when you start saying it in those words, because you're right in the fact that so many folks, when they're getting started out and they're looking at manufacturing, that, if they're not ordering 50,000 of them, it doesn't make any sense, and they've got to have this huge capacity. Whereas a lot of the inventors that are now teeing up to start their business and go to market find that there is some place that is really close at hand that can help and do those shorter runs.
Yeah, that's very true. We've had people. So we're in Maryland. We've had people based in Pennsylvania. We got a lot of supplies from them, and then when but of course economy is king. I was doing some looking around. I found better rates, significantly better in Ohio. So we're bringing in stuff from Ohio now.
Well, good for you guys. And so what's next? How do you get the word out there about what you're doing?
Uh, so we're trying to use some we're doing some of the normal marketing things. We're marketing a little bit on Amazon. We're trying to get a hold of some influencers, and we're going to be with you. We're planning on being with you at the ASD Market Week in March, and doing a couple of shows this year.
We're looking forward to having you because we are right next to the tool section. So the guys over there that are Tolson Tools, they only buy wholesale for resale.
Awesome.
And so there'll be a wonderful connection for you to have. And as you've gone through, what has been the easiest as you've gone through this process?
Well, I'm not sure if any of it has been all that easy, but
well, less
um,
hard. Let's look at it being, less hard. We're
the
going to
least
take a break
hard.
here. You think about your answer for what is less hard, and we're going to come back. But you know what, folks? We all have experienced buying things that say made in America, that the quality is better and it lasts longer, as opposed to buying those things that are made in a couple of those specifically other countries, and would rather focus on made in America. So you know what? Come back and listen to Ben's story. And you know what? When you have the opportunity to see where it's made, please take it and support the Made in America. We will be right back after we pay some bills. If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org. Thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Made in America. We are so proud to bring you the different products, and I get to tell the stories. So we are not talking politics here. We are talking products, and I love it. And my guest for this episode of Made in America is Ben Wainwright. And Ben has been manufacturing products right here in America for do it yourself. Would you say, Ben, it's, somebody can do it themselves? They go buy your tool and they rip out their own deck. Or do you just travel all over America to do this?
So specifically we sell to we sell the products to, if I understand your question, we sell the products to the DIY and the pro market. Um, so maybe, did I understand your question?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So, somebody is out there and they say, we've got to rip out the deck because I know that's coming my way probably in the next 2 years. I would rather hire somebody to do it, but I can tell them it's like, by the way, you need to go and get this product, greentech-tools.com, before you come over and start ripping out my deck.
Yeah, that way they can know the fast way to do it and make sure you're not paying too much for the demo.
I know, right? It's like, no, I'd rather have you take an hour than 3 days to rip this out. So make sure you go and get, and then how is there a training session that you go through to, show somebody the right way to use it? Or is it pretty instinctual, especially if they know how to rip out boards anyway?
So we have on each one of the tools, it does come with an instruction sticker that kind of gives you the basics. And we also send each tool out with a much more detailed 5x7 card that shows you all the different places, for example, on a deck where you could use the demo deck, like the top rail, and you can use it on the stairs. And it tells you, like, if you're having difficulty with the boards breaking, you can shorten the board. So it gives you a lot of different ideas in pictograph form. So you can just, in a matter of seconds, looking across this pictograph, you can see all the different ways to use it. It kind of downloads into your brain the different ideas that you would want to, at least the basics, to give somebody. And then it's a little bit of, each job's a little bit different specifically, because depending on the residual strength of the board, how much weathering it is, and the specific fastener used, there's a little bit different technique needed for each different scenario.
Okay, so back to the question right before the break on, what has been, the most, when we said the easiest part, the least difficult part that you were expecting. What's gone on in your steps that surprised you, good or bad?
Well, one of the things that's always really pleasant is going to shows and talking to people who've used the tool, because they're so positive about it. I mean, it's like a really strong emotional reaction when people figure out something that actually is going to save them that much time and make them that much money. It's very endearing when people do that. So that's a lot of what makes all the hard work worth it, because I know how good I had a job in actually October redecking a deck, and it's just like, man, there's nothing like using the right tool for the job. The homeowners like seeing you using it too, because it's like, man, they're going to be doing my work with more energy after this part that they're doing real easily. It's done.
Yeah, I can only imagine after they've, watched you try to rip something out the old way. And, if they've got a wood deck, they've probably had to replace it before, or at least do some work on it. And they realize how long it takes. And to know that, there's somebody out there now that's doing it, that's, wiser, smarter, and more efficient is got to be a good thing.
Yep. You just want to give them a better way to do it.
So in that regards, as far as your biggest surprise goes, pleasant, we think of surprises as being the pleasant part of it. What has been your biggest surprise in all of this?
Well, just honestly, like the biggest thing that I can say is how much better it was when I started making things in the USA. It's just, I can control it so much better. I have more peace of mind. That's honestly, that's the biggest thing that was easier as far as making things less difficult. Making the USA was just, that kind of made it worth doing.
So that's wonderful to know, because, we talk a lot about manufacturing. Oh, I can't do it because of the price. How did you see the price points change between manufacturing overseas and bringing it back to America? And was it part of it is the quality was so much better made in America?
Yeah, so there was a lot of different difficulties of making it overseas. Like, so there was a lot of time in, so it wasn't ever also one company that could make it overseas. They had to cobble together all the different parts, kind of like I'm doing here, but then they would have their own time delays and all that kind of stuff. Then after they got back to me, then they could sense, I mean, it just took so long. And then there was a language barrier. And then you're waiting for stuff to come overseas, and it's waiting in customs. And, I'm always hoping that I'm not having something in the container that some kind of invasive bugs. It's like, man, I don't want to be part of that. So it's just, I just don't it was just so difficult every single step of it, and the long time delays and all the costs involved with it. Where when we were able to do in the USA, it's like I could drive to go get the stuff in one day and be back with it. Where I don't even, hopefully it comes if it's from China, or from wherever. Um, so yes, maybe I got off point there, but
You were doing a good job. You're fine because you were basically
Okay.
you were venting for everybody to understand what it's like to deal with the foreign countries, and it's not the first time I've heard the frustration.
Yeah. So yeah, just making the USA has been so much better. The people, I can just give them a call, and then I can UPS them something, and we can have it right in front of us, both look at it, and we get the exact best results so fast. And yeah, and also the ingenuity of the people who I'm also dealing with, the other people in the United States who I get to deal with. The ingenuity of the Americans is just unmatched. There's you're going to get so much better quality as far as the people are concerned, from my experience.
Well, you've got some other products that you've been working on, correct?
Yeah, well, so as far as green tech tools, if you want to talk about that a little bit, so we've got the tool, the deck tool, the demo deck. We've got the new hardwood floor remover. Last year we got into dead blow hammers that are also made in the USA. Those would be I never really saw anything like this available at lumber yards or anything, but there was always times when I would want a good dead blow hammer. And we're selling them now anywhere between 1.5 pounds, which is the best one for our hardwood flooring tool, all the way up to 12-pound dead blow. They're all high vis green. They're going with the green motif. And my favorite is the 5.5-pound mallet because it's long enough. It's like about 26 inches or so long. And if you need to tap in a joist because it's not quite tight against the ledger board, you can stand there and do it with one hand with no ladder or anything else. So I love the hammers, and we're getting some good sales with those, and people.
All right, Ben, I'm sorry to interrupt you here. I don't mean to play the girl thing, but what is a dead blow hammer?
Okay. So a dead blow hammer is typically, you think about a metal hammer, like a sledgehammer or something like that. If you're going to hit wood or something else, it's going to leave dents and mars in it specifically. So if you want a hammer that is going to protect your workpiece, where the hammer actually absorbs a little bit of blow while you're trying to move whatever your workpiece is, that's where you would want something called a dead blow. A dead blow is a lot of times they're going to be plastic on the outside or some kind of a composite or polyurethane or something like that. And it's going to have typically a sand on the inside of a canister where when you hit it, it actually is more like a soft blow, or that's why I call them a dead blow hammer. Because it's more of like a deadening shot, and it's not going to rebound. So there's various reasons just you would want those.
So good to know. I thought I was upgrading when I got all pink tools for Christmas so that my husband would not touch them anymore for fear of getting electrocuted. It's like, if it's pink, honey, you don't get to touch it. And so it's like, fine. I'll leave the pink ones alone.
Yeah.
But I generally don't need, it's nice to know that if I did need something out there, because like I said, everything here is that upper, it's wood. It's wood. If you've got to pound something in, you don't want to leave a mark on it. So never heard of a dead blow hammer before. I think I'll be looking for one of those. But we're going to be back after we take another break because, TV, radio, you got to go pay the bills. And we are very grateful to our sponsors who take care of that. And then we'll be back and wrap it up with Ben, kind of see where he's going next besides just the trade show. So stick with us, America. We will be right back.
Hi, this is a training pull-up for little boys, and it's a great product to use. It makes it easy for the parent and the child when learning how to potty train. The coolest part about the product is that you don't have to take the child's pants all the way down every time that they need to use the restroom. You can just open this part here, and the child can tinkle through here, and it makes it easy for the parent and the child. It's a great product, and I cannot wait until it hits the market.
And thank you for being with us for this segment of Made in America. We are so proud to bring you these products and tell you the stories. And my guest is Ben Weinrich. Do I say that right, Ben?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. And Ben's got a great story about how he's been on the job and he's come up with these different tools and manufactured right in his backyard for now. I believe you live in Maryland and you manufacture now in Ohio?
Well, we still manufacture it in-house. We're getting some of the parts. It looks like we'll be able to have some of the like kind of the assembly parts of them done, um, probably in Ohio. Some of the laser cut parts we have been getting from Ohio as well. So yeah.
All right. So what's, as you're going through the different jobs and you're going through and manufacturing the tools, what do you see coming down the road? What's next? Are you kind of always on the look to make it better?
Um, oh yeah, we're always obviously that's one of the names of the game. That's what we're always focused on is how do we make the process better for the customer, but how do we improve the processes in-house to actually be able to get the best product to the customer and then have a life to enjoy as well at the end of all of that.
Oh, you want a life too?
Well, yeah, you have a business, so they say you can choose which 12 hours of the day you work if you have your own business.
Yes. And, leading up to ASD Market Week, it is a 24/7, and then I take a week off.
Okay.
So you're right. You get to choose when you're doing it yourself. And, it was so funny because I would have somebody say, well, give me a call when you've got time. I'm thinking normal work day. And they'd call me like at 10:30 at night. And I go, why are you calling me at 10:30? You said, call when I have time. I have time right now. And it's like, why are you answering the phone? It's like, because you're calling me. And so, we always have some fun times with that. You answered your phone. I figured it was going to go to an answering machine. Nope. I answer my phone.
Yeah.
So you get people, I would imagine, that call you and ask you about, all right, if you've invented this, can you do it this way? Can we have a tool that would do this thing? Do you ever get people that kind of pick your brain?
That's funny. I actually just a couple weeks ago had a guy contact me. They do a lot of charity work for people who need wheelchair access ramps into their house. So these guys, for no profit, they go, or no cost at all, they get donations of wood and they go and typically rip off the old dilapidated one and they go and just drop in a new one where they made it in this garage off site and then take it. So they said they used the demo deck tool to rip off the old deck planks and break it down. And they said, hey, do you have something where you'd be able to shorten this, where we could put it upside down and hook it to the frame of the new platform so that we could use this to actually hold it up, but not actually be touching the platform. So we could kind of have handles on it, put it in place, and then just, drop the handle off, the tool off. So it would make it a lot easier for us to carry. I said, sure. So I actually ended up sending them last week and they loved it. So
Oh,
funny.
cool.
Good question. Yeah.
Well, when people are using your tool and they're thinking, oh, they might come up with some little ideas that, they call you up and ask you about it. And you say, well, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. That was funny.
As you're going through, those processes and steps, there's always a lot of mind power that goes into, is it worth the next step? So at what point, I mean, if you had times where you said, no, this isn't enough, or it's like, holy cow, yeah.
So help me understand your question. Do you mean from the perspective of the suitability of the device for its application, or just is things just so difficult where we're staying close to saying broken arrow and giving up?
Yes. Both of those, kind of. Both of those.
Well, there's certainly been times in anybody's process of inventing things and trying to bring it to market and then getting successful and then profitable and all that. There's certainly plenty of times where you're wondering, am I crazy for continuing in this because it's so difficult? But then you have other times where it's like, man, I love what I'm doing and I get to do it my way and I don't have to go do somebody else's policies and all that stuff. So, it's give and take no matter what you do. It's just kind of, which do you prefer?
You know, it's funny that you put it that way because I've talked to my husband a couple of times and, about this kind of process. And he goes, there used to be, a guy that he worked with, they worked for a big paper mill. And it was like, I get all these memos and, worry about people showing up for work. And then I go out and I do my own work. And then I worry about, having the money, the company money to pay the bills. And so it really doesn't matter which side of that you're on. There's always going to be worries to go with it, right?
Oh yeah.
And just a different set, depending on which chair you're sitting in and on which side of the desk, different worries, correct?
Absolutely.
And different people that have expectations of you, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Wife, children have different
Amazing.
expectations than employees, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So anyway, thank you so much for being with us today. Any closing comments, Ben, that you've got to share with our audience?
No, just we got a couple other interesting products as well. One is for the kind of just a life enhancement product, kind of a lifestyle product that, generally speaking, holds drinks at social events. These holders have options for everything from yard games to outdoor corporate events. For example, like cornhole. If you need a place to put your drink and your bean bags at when you're playing, we have a device that would hold all that stuff for you when you're playing, so you don't have to bend over 100 times or have figure out a way to place your drink or anything like that. So we got some neat stuff, in the works besides just the demolition tools.
Very good. And I've seen some of those. They are very cool. So everyone, thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Made in America. And we will be back next week with that version of Made in America with the Coalition for Prosperous America guys and I think the Manager's Corner. So anyway, we've got some fun stuff coming up next week. Tune in again. Thank you so much, America.